geoholic.
Right. Oh, man. Next up, we have Burton. Burton, real quick, go ahead and introduce yourself, name, who you're with, and kind of what you do.
Hi, I'm Burton Putrah. I'm with SiteView. I'm a senior product manager, solar. So I oversee all our solar products around the globe.
Sounds like a big job.
That does
Especially when
sound
you
like a
threw
big
globe in there.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the company and maybe a little rundown of all those solar projects that or products that you manage?
Yeah. Sorry, it's been a long day already.
No problem.
So SiteView, we inspect high valued assets as we're trying to speed along the transition to renewable energy.
Okay.
So we inspect solar farms. We do EPC and construction of solar farms.
When you say inspect,
Yeah,
can
what do
you
you mean by that?
Yeah.
So typically, we fly aircraft in North America with mid-wave IR sensor and high-resolution RGB camera.
Okay.
Or we'll use UAVs, and it really depends on the right tool for the right job. So, but we recently rolled out the North American Solar Scan, and so we flew an aircraft or multiple aircraft all over North America to collect every single site or data on every single site above 1 megawatt and process, analyze that with the RGB and IR imagery and present that to our customers trying to do that through an asset rating. So it's a high level, very quick analysis on that site and make a report for each one. And we collected at the resolution so you're able to do a comprehensive analysis on that and take that imagery and take a look at every defect down to the cell level.
Wow. So is when you're collecting this data, is it like are you scanning these sites, like creating like a 3D point cloud? Is there like any infrared scanning that happens or?
Yeah. So with the mid-wave IR sensor, it's
Okay.
thermal camera. And,
Thermal camera,
yeah,
there you go.
and we fly with an upper overlap to do, if we want to create a 3D point cloud of that in both thermal or on the RGB spectrum, we could.
Yeah.
But we typically just try to do a high quality ortho mosaic for that and do our analysis.
And the reason for doing this is it like asset management, or what is the purpose for doing what you guys are doing?
Yeah, asset managers is certainly one of our target customers.
Yeah.
Asset owners, financial institutions, people who have a financial stake in these portfolios of solar sites.
Okay.
Definitely. We're really just trying to move from, I think, asset managers were our O&M providers or our traditional market, and we're working on broadening that base with this product.
Cool.
How long did it take to fly that North America and scan?
Took about 4 months.
4 months.
Oh, wow. That's faster than I thought.
Yeah, I have to admit.
Yeah. So, did you guys have your own aircraft and stuff like that? Or did you
we have a few aircraft and we contracted a few.
contracts? Yeah.
But we own this sensor suite and all the internal equipment that we needed for that.
Got it. So who are your main customers then?
Right now they're O&M firms, operator maintainers, and asset owners.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Not developers necessarily, though, right?
No. We do have a product, our geospatial product team that will go out and fly LiDAR and collect imagery to do development work and build topo for those new sites.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. And what got you into this? Like, how did you get into this business to begin with?
So I was really interested in maps, and I went to college. I went to University of Vermont, and I majored in geography and minored in geospatial technologies.
You're speaking our language.
How are you not a land surveyor? How are you not a land surveyor?
Remote sensing really was my bread and butter. That really caught my eye. I really like looking at pretty photos.
Yeah.
And my first job out of college was inspecting transmission right-of-ways using aircraft and LiDAR sensors and multispectral sensors to check on vegetation health and see if they're growing into high voltage power lines. And and I love GIS. So,
yeah. Interesting. So what do you love about like your current role? Like what motivates you? What do you love about your job?
That's a great question. I don't like finding that motivation or verbalizing that is really tough because it's kind of who I am.
Sure.
Right. Like I love being very technical, understanding like what it would take to like scan every site in North America.
Yeah.
I mean, it's over 6,000 sites, and being able to build a processing pipeline from data collection, processing, post-processing, analysis, and building the web platform to deliver that. I'd love it.
It's totally doable. It just takes money.
And a lot of help from a lot of other partners that could help you along the way, right?
Like surveyors and GIS professionals and engineers.
Right. Yeah,
definitely had to lean on our team of geospatial engineers to help build this up. Like it wasn't me, but I was like helping guide the team to have the outcome that we have. And now we have a fully functional product that, we brought to the market this week.
Interesting.
Well, you brought to the market this week?
This week. This is
a big thing right here.
You're rolling
this
it out
big
this
time. When you said it's been a long day, I mean, it's really been like a long year to get to this culmination, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Last year at RE Plus, we had the California solar scan, where we scanned every site in California.
Oh, wow.
And that's roughly 20% of the market share.
Okay.
Or like in terms of solar production. So it's about 20 gigawatts of solar production in California. And there's over 100 in North America.
So then you went from the state of California to North America in a year.
Correct.
And then you said there's 6,000 sites in North America.
Just over that. But next year, there's going to be a lot more.
Gosh darn. Crazy.
And then, so talk a little bit about what the future looks like. And is this, North America 2.0 next year? Are you just going to keep going back, or is it go global, or would you go back to California and remap all the 40% growth in that market, or what do you do?
We're going to do the whole
all the above.
Scan the whole U.S. again, like in the spring.
Yeah,
and we're look at these new sites that are coming online, the existing sites, see what's changed. Like there's a whole geospatial and temporal component that I'm really looking forward to dive into. And rolling this out in Spain, Italy, and starting to look at how we can utilize this same technology in Europe, and we'll see what other markets will support this. And we're already doing drone scans throughout, I don't know, 70 other countries right now. So,
oh wow,
is any of this like patented? Like whether it be the process, is there anything like? Do you guys own anything, or do you have competition? I guess is my question.
Well, we just recently acquired our competition at Heliolytics.
I just saw that.
Good for you.
Yeah. So, we do have. I mean, there are other aerial thermography providers for sure. We're growing very quickly, and we have that differentiated solution.
Yeah. So what are you excited about? Like, where's this going to go next? Well, you obviously mentioned about like going to Spain and that type thing, and like you can do this anywhere.
Yeah. And looking forward to standardizing and really getting into the data.
Sure.
I think that's really what is exciting me is, as we're building out this data set, not only is spatially and temporally of how these plants are performing, but like the equipment that goes into them and building those correlations and the right type of equipment over time, and maybe bringing in weather data and seeing how hail strikes and how well like plants perform in different climates and and how they're built differently in different geographies.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Is there any real-time data that you can glean from this? Is that something that maybe would be looked at in the future?
I think so. Yeah. I work with really smart people on how to tie in real-time data. Sure. Like you have the SCADA data and seeing how that correlates at the time to scan.
Yep.
That's very interesting.
There'd be some value there.
I think so.
Yep.
You mentioned you're in charge of the solar. What other areas is like view and around, like is solar the main one, or what else you guys do?
Solar's one of the faster growing verticals in our company. It was in solar, we do everything from topo work to pre-construction, construction monitoring of plants to the thermography, where we have them. And a mobile app that goes along with that. So it's a full value chain on the solar side. But we also do wind turbine inspections.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
with UAVs, and we do property and like large building inspections as well. So taking a look at how well like rooftops and all of that's performed.
Or you can see where the leaks are, and you can see where the AC is blowing out and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
In rooftops.
Looks like you work with telecom
and
companies as well. That's got to be a huge market for you guys.
Absolutely. And transmission and distribution. So we're getting into that a little bit more over the coming year.
Interesting.
Is this all geo-referenced then?
Yes.
Thought I had him back.
Oh yeah. No, it's it can't not be.
You said it the right. You said it the right way.
Yeah. So great. Super cool. What else? What else do you want to get out there? What are you excited about?
Oh, I'm excited.
That you can talk about.
That I can talk about. No, it's I don't know. I was looking forward to you guys asking me more questions, but
we'll talk about the culture a little bit. You know, how long have you been with the company?
I've been there 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah. And just coming up my second anniversary, and just seeing the company grow. Like, I think I was like, there were about 5 or 6 people working in the solar vertical when I started, and like it was just a small dedicated group of people, and now so well over like it's about 100 or so employees working on this product.
So what are some of the challenges that go, especially in a very fast growing department? Like what's gotten in your way so far?
Keeping the vision straight. You know,
okay.
It's like there's a lot of different competing ideas. Like it's a very diverse industry. Like take a look at the solar and like all the different booths that are pertaining to solar around here.
Oh yeah.
At the conference here. It's just, you can go lots of different directions, but like keeping the whole team focused on this is what we need to do. We have this ambitious goal and we need to execute on it. It's been a lot of work, and our team is all over the globe. We have a team in India. I've got a team in 5 different countries in the EU, and then every time zone in North America.
Wow.
I can see so many uses for this. It's crazy. Like even like mitigating risk, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Perfect. Well, I mean, it's a good facility management, asset management kind of, I mean, in general, and just applying it that way. What other, talking about the company itself and, the growth, have you found it hard, or what about acquiring talent, or is there a talent pool of GIS professionals that live and die in the solar space that are knocking at your door? How have you been able to grow?
I'd say that, there's a lot of very talented geospatial analysts out there, and from when I started, and like it's definitely grown as an industry, and like the education pieces out there, and there's a bit of a gap, especially on the younger side, going from college to the professional places. Like you don't have the resources you typically do in college. Sure. But the interest is there, and like we're very fortunate that we're working with multispectral data, the remote sensing side of it, but also the GIS side. It's very like we use QGIS and
QGIS is amazing. Yeah, for free.
Yeah, it requires some work. Like you have to work and set it up and appropriately and building the scripts, and then also it's tying in the AI ML engineers that we have into this and making sure that it's mostly. So that's super exciting too. So it's getting like some younger GIS professionals experienced with our seasoned industry experts. But I wouldn't say talents. It's there. It's great, and we're very fortunate to have a world-class team.
Sure. Yeah. I just had a great question.
Well, you mentioned automation. That's when it kind of jumped to me. And is that kind of another thing you're looking at? And how do you automate and use some of the AI tools? And
we definitely use it for a lot of the consistent analysis. So like we really set out when we do things, trying to do things in a very repeatable way, so we can automate it as much as possible. So for our solar asset reports, all of that analysis, including up to building the reports, other than georeferencing at this point, making sure that we have that nailed down, is fully automated through our ML, through our processing pipeline, which includes AI ML to pull out like the anomalies and identify where hotspots, cell defects, diode failures, and modules offline occur.
Sure. How do you manage all this data?
Carefully.
I'm just such a massive amount of information.
We have over a petabyte of geospatial data.
Petabyte? What? I got to Google that. What is that? What's a petabyte?
Is that 1,000 terabytes, or is there one in between? That's the one above. That's after a terabyte. Okay, yeah.
I think it's 1,000 terabytes of data.
That's unbelievable. Crazy.
Yeah, and like managing that in the cloud and maintaining not only like the data security side of it, but maintaining and being able to pull that and set it up in a repeat, like in a systematic fashion, so we can go and reference the site. So if a client wants, after we complete a scan, we'd be like, client comes to us and would like a site or a portfolio of sites, and we have to be able to look up that, process it very quickly, like typically within 7 days.
Wow.
And being able to have that structured the right way has been quite challenging.
So like your customers, the end user, what is the deliverable? Access to the clouds where you store all this data and they just get access to what they paid for?
And we'll provide them a login to our online portal, which is it's map based, and you go in, you can see all the different sites of which they've subscribed to or have purchased. And you can build a portfolio. You can take a look at the imagery, transition that through time if you have multiple different scans. It's all based on the site. And then we also extract, feature extraction, all the modules out. So we basically build a lightweight digital twin, and we'll attribute that damage, how we classify that, to that site. And they also get access to a mobile app too. So they're able to track those damages in the field and then add some status tracking to them.
So that extraction, is it done like by hand, or there's an AI component to that?
Yeah. We've trained a couple of ML models, one for crystalline panels and one for thin film panels.
Of course you did.
Of course you did. Sounds like you thought of everything.
I got nothing. I'm just a surveyor.
Yeah, we know. So what else? What do you want to get out there before we take off here?
Come see us on the floor.
We're going to. We got to get over there.
Yeah, we're going over there after this.
Nice.
At some point.
We have the booth, the Heliolytics booth on the first floor, and then we're down on they're on the second floor, we're on the first floor,
cool.
right above each other. So
nice.
Come check it out. We can give a demo. You can see all of it in action.
I would love to see it.
Right now on the floor, we have, if you want to check out the sites in California, Nevada, and Arizona are up on the site, every site above 1 megawatt. And then we can show off our more comprehensive in-depth analysis for a site that we have centered. We have some demo data over the trade floor, and then we can also view that on the mobile app as well as you walk around and go from anomaly to anomaly.
It's awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Looks like it's got it figured out.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. We'll definitely stop by.
Yeah, Burton, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Burton. It's been great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Back from lunch.
We are back.
We got to get a couple more in before we need that afternoon slumber.
Yeah, we're hitting it right now.
Pretty much. But I think we got a couple of really good guests here joining us. I'm going to have them do some really quick self-introductions. And why don't you go first? Just name who you're with, what you do.
All right. My name is Ralph Thomas, and I'm president of Falcon Foster Real Estate Incorporated.
All right.
And
I am Kent Thomas. I'm a project manager here at Falcon Foster. With a specialization, I would say, in GIS. So I started with GIS.
I love it.
Nice.
This is Kent Overload today.
Yeah, this is our third Kent of today, if you count the original here.
But the over-under for the conference is 4.
Is 4. We've just now hit 3. It was 3 for today and 4 for the conference. So I am confident.
Oh my gosh.
Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what Falcon Foster does?
Falcon Foster has been around since 1945.
Wow.
We've been since 1977, have been in the telecommunications business. In the mid 80s, when the first licenses were awarded, we got into siting cell towers. Since then, in 2007, we got into the renewable space and have been siting utility scale wind and solar projects across the U.S. So,
wow.
Where are you based?
We're based out of Monroe, Louisiana.
Okay, great.
Office in Monroe, another office in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and remote employees all over the U.S.
All right. How many employees total?
Total of 50.
Nice.
Good size.
Good size.
Yeah. And so talk about your job a little bit and what you do.
Yeah, so I got started at Falcon Foster about 10 years ago doing data entry and working with GIS. Had an opportunity to learn from a gentleman that worked there whose last name, believe it or not, is Platt.
Jesus. Can you imagine if I was Kent Platt? That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be a little too much.
The perfect GIS name, right? So got started, like I said, about 10 years ago. Worked my way up, data entry, GIS analyst. Now I'm a project manager. So I still do a lot of the GIS stuff, but also help coordinate the site acquisition process, leasing, all that stuff.
Got it. So are you guys, who are you representing? The landowners, or are you on the other side of it?
Representing the developer.
Okay. Representing developers, yeah. So you're doing all the due diligence ahead of time, looking for that perfect location, that perfect piece of property.
That's correct. Yes.
Gotcha. Do you work with surveyors ever?
Not for surveyors. We have surveyors that work for us.
There you go. There you go. Yep. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. So once we've, client comes to us with a concept. We want to have X number of megawatts in a particular, a particular location.
Yep.
And then we begin the search, looking for the right piece, who the right landowner is, but also water, just features. Is there water on the property? Is it floodplains, wetlands, and that's what the GIS team.
We've got zoning people, so you take in that level of scrutiny.
Sure.
So not just what geographically meets the criteria, but also maybe the county says we only want you in agricultural districts or something.
Okay. So do you have like Alta surveys done, that type thing, in order to determine where all that stuff is, like determine where the different easements are and that type thing, or you just kind of do an independent research as far as like, do you get title reports and take it to that level?
Not on the front end.
Not on the front end. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Not until after you've gotten a lease.
Sure.
So a lot of what we do is that really front end.
Oh, okay.
It's, hey, we want to get 10 sites in this county and go out and lease the sites and then, further that due diligence.
Sure.
On the front end, it's usually just crunching data with Esri or GIS.
Cool.
Do you guys find it easy, or when a client comes and says, "Hey, I want 10 megawatts over here," are you finding the spaces for them, or is it harder to find, or do you have 4 options for them, or is it
a lot of times it all depends. It depends on what size. So if you're looking for a 20-acre parcel, there are lots of targets,
right?
Versus a 2,000-acre piece of property.
Yep. And then where you find, are the clients looking specific in areas, and then you go find it in that area, or they say, I want 100 megawatts somewhere west of the Mississippi, and then you guys go and chase.
Well, you see both flavors. Generally, though, they have an idea of where they want to be is from an interconnect standpoint.
Okay.
So they'll say, this substation is these groups of substations are our areas of interest. And we'll draw a buffer, 2-mile buffer around those substations and go, okay, then technically anything within 2 miles of one of these locations is a candidate.
Got it.
And then we go through and further refine that by going, okay, we'll look at slope terrain models. We'll look at floodplains and wetlands. And again, some of, those zoning features and stuff like that to determine whether it's actually going to be a viable location.
Yeah. What makes you guys good at what you do?
Experience. I mean, like I said, the company's been around since 1945. We've been in the wireless industry since the mid 80s, and we've been in the renewable space since 2007. So, I mean, we were in the renewable space before solar even started.
Sure.
Yeah. Really took footholds.
Yeah. So like the telecom, is that still going like crazy?
Yes.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's not that you're building more towers for coverage. You're building more towers now for capacity.
Oh,
so as you add 5G, or you went from 3G to 4G to LTE and all these different technologies. Well, the faster bandwidth, you're pushing more data, which means you need to shrink the circle. So the circles get smaller, and you have to have more of them to be able to cover the same area.
Gotcha. Do you guys do like corridor work as well? Or is it just like large parcels? Or is it corridors for, transmission?
on the most of the stuff that we do on the transmission utility transmission side are corridors for a gen-tie for a particular project to get back onto the grid.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So I got to ask, you set the story up where, in 20, however many years ago, you're in the wireless space, and 14 years ago, you got into the renewable space. So that tells me you're getting into a new space that wasn't a thing yet. Or where do you see the future of the company going? Are you going to keep chasing solar and big areas, or is there what's next for you guys?
Absolutely. I mean, the renewable energy. I mean, obviously, there's tons of competitive presence out there, but these guys haven't seen the market consolidations yet. You look at what the oil and gas business went through, and people are still chasing oil and gas. Like it's a very viable business, and. It's exciting for me because this is like the cowboy days. I mean, we're talking gunslinging,
like get out there and put the stake in it first and it's mine.
Build it, ask questions later.
Yeah. I love it. That's my model.
Yep.
Yeah. It is your model. Yeah. What about zoning and permitting? Are you guys involved with that as well?
Yes, we are. And, again, we're starting to see the same things that happened in the wireless business, which was the big not in my backyard movement. Everybody wants a tower.
Yep.
Nobody wants to be able to see it.
Yep.
Same thing with the renewable energy projects. You've got landowners who didn't have the opportunity to participate. They hate it because they're not getting a check. And then you've got, those that are making money from it and they're quite pleased with it.
Yeah. Sure. Yep, for sure. What else? What do you like about your job?
Other than you get to play with maps all day.
I was gonna say you're putting me on the spot here. No, I mean it's a kind of been a learning experience for everybody, and it's I would say that's what I love about it the most. It's constantly changing. It's been interesting watching the industry morph. So like a big part of what I've done over the past 2 years has been community solar. And it's interesting to see, state level legislations passing, and then you get waves of development interest in particular areas and stuff. But coming to conferences, that's my favorite part.
Especially this one.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, you got new technology stuff. Hydrogen.
Yeah, next question.
Hydrogen it promises to be a big boom. For the business, for the industry.
Yeah. How will it affect the industry?
Well, I mean,
what kind of infrastructure is that going to require?
You have to, I mean, you've got to extract it. You've got to process it.
Sure. Yep.
So again, economic impact, who knows?
Sure. Yeah.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's so much unknown. I mean, things are developing so rapidly. It's hard to keep up with it all.
Well, it's like carbon capture. I just don't. I still have a hard time understanding. Understand mineral rights, and you can, you own the mineral rights, and if somebody extracts oil from underneath your property, then you want to get paid. So what if I'm going to put something in there? I'm going to inject, carbon dioxide into the earth, and so what do I owe you?
Interesting.
Yeah. This has been it's been recent too. Of the things pulling carbon out of the air and then injecting them as carbon dioxide in, so it's a net zero.
Right.
But I think that's a broad stroke of a net.
Yeah.
Because there's still a positive and a negative. I just don't see how that equals out.
Yeah.
What else are you seeing around here, or what else is exciting as far as technology? Where do you see where do you see it going here?
I mean, obviously AI is a big buzzword right now. Don't know how that'll impact this particular industry, but that I think that's going to be a pretty exciting.
Well, I mean, ideally, it would take away Kent's job, and you just tell ChatGPT what you're looking for, and it spits out 3 properties already pre-screened for you. And
that Kent,
Sorry, buddy.
Are there different challenges involved if you're trying to, secure a property for wind or solar? Like, are there different challenges for a property that's going to be, for a wind farm versus a solar farm?
Yes. I mean, but I think they're kind of the obvious things. I mean, you're talking about using something that, is used as 2%. You get 10,000 acres and you're going to cover 2% of it, or less than 2%.
Sure.
In turbines, as opposed to a solar facility where you're blanketing everything.
Right.
So it doesn't appear to be a co-located technology that coexists very, very easily.
Right. Yeah. Cool. What else? You guys got anything else you want to get out there?
No, we appreciate your time.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys stopping by.
Appreciate you stopping by
and meeting another Kent.
Yes,
great name.
Sounds good.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, back day two.
Day two.
The RE Plus show, and this is a massive event.
Yeah, I don't think we've done it. We've talked since we took a lap around. We didn't even get to the entire thing, and it's still the biggest thing I've ever been a part of. Definitely conferences.
It's intimidating to a certain degree.
It is. It was hard to get an idea of what we were doing yesterday when we were just walking around. It was like, it was like a fair or something. There was like lights and all kinds of activity.
Yeah. Smell. Did you smile, Sean?
I did.
Okay. I did. Good. You got your good side. But no, it's huge. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. A lot of good things, meeting a lot of great people. I love the energy around. I mean, obviously it's an energy conference.
I see what you did there. That was good.
But
no pun intended.
I don't know. And I love the change of pace from our typical thing.
Definitely. It's great. So we have our first guest with us. Really excited about this conversation. I know it's going to be very interesting. We have Marion. So Marion, I'm going to let you just do your brief self-introduction, just name, company, and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Marion Jones. Before anybody out there gets really excited, this is not the track star.
She's really fast though.
Yeah. I am in a fast marathon to, recruit some of the best and brightest into this industry and to open up more opportunities and eliminate barriers. So there we go. I actually am the Vice President of Workforce Development and DEI Engagement for Next Amp, which is a solar energy company based out in New England in Boston, Massachusetts. And I'm excited about being here for the Renewable Energy Conference. It has been just unbelievable. The people, the energy, the sessions, and just to think about the number of opportunities that are available in this industry and how we can help develop talent and recruit from underrepresented populations, underserved populations, and, create internal workforce development programs, apprenticeship programs, so that many people in the communities where we work and live can benefit from the growth that's happening in this industry. As we grow, as we build, as we develop, we all know we need to do that more inclusively, right? Yeah. It just makes sense to do it that way. So I'm here. I'm excited. I'm on fire.
That is outstanding stuff. And believe it or not, that is everything you just said is a common theme of what we talk about on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Recruiting, awareness, getting more people into the profession. Yeah. More people that aren't traditionally don't know about the opportunities that are out there. So talk a little bit more about, does everyone know that there is an abundance of jobs and opportunities in the renewable energy space?
Absolutely not, because, to be quite transparent, I didn't know how many jobs were available in the renewable energy space. I've worked in the workforce development space for a little over a decade. And so I knew that from a workforce development standpoint, we're always talking about there are jobs in a number of different industries. But in this particular industry, just to put some numbers out there, I was in I was at an event that was hosted by the Lieutenant Governor in Massachusetts, and they said that 38,000 jobs will need to be filled by 2030 as a result of just the growth that's happening in the renewable energy space. And so, we are, it's our responsibility, those of us that work in the HR, the talent development space, as companies, it's, as mission-driven companies, it's our responsibility to, do what we can to be proactive about finding individuals who we can help prepare for those opportunities.
So that's a big number, 38,000. Is that, is that like North America, global? What is that?
So right now that
Yeah.
is just some global.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a
figures.
lot. And these are like jobs from entry level jobs to executive level jobs, I'm assuming.
These are entry level jobs for sure.
Mhm.
But obviously just with how things are happening in the workforce, we are still in that era where baby boomers are retiring. They're coming out, and so that's creating just a wave of opportunities in addition. So that's in addition to
Oh, wow.
just what renewable
Yep.
job opportunities are being made available.
So what kind of things are you guys specifically doing to create more awareness? And like you say, getting it out there. Like what are you guys doing? Like specifically, I guess.
Yeah. So when you think of creating awareness, it goes far beyond just no one organization can do this
right. Other than
alone.
just showing up here
Exactly,
to a job
right.
fair. Right?
You can't just show up at a job fair
Yeah.
or, post on LinkedIn and
Right.
Indeed, right?
Yep.
It's all about relationships. The success of anything is about successful relationships, right? And so for us in the workforce development space, it's about community partnerships. How do we go out and essentially create an ecosystem? So how do we find community partners who are already working with some of the type of candidates that we're trying to attract? So these organizations that are already working with maybe reentry population, right? Organizations that are working with maybe a subsector of individuals who are trying to get their high school equivalent or their GED, right? Maybe they're working with single parents who are looking to transition back into the job space. Maybe they're working with veterans who are coming back into the workforce. And so it's all about building those relationships with community partners, with community colleges, with universities, right? Because we have individuals who are in community college and universities and really don't know what their next step is post-graduation. So if we can educate them, if we can expose them to these opportunities that we have available and then help train them and give them these pre-apprenticeship opportunities, then it's a win-win for us and a win-win for the talent that's on the other side of that.
So many parallels.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
What she's saying and the industries that we work in, So this is really interesting.
Yeah, you said something there, pre-apprenticeship program. Like, what is that?
I've never heard that term before.
What is the pre-apprenticeship program?
Yeah.
It sounds so. Pre-apprenticeship program, it's just a program that is created to essentially help educate, empower, and develop talent. So it's a program that's put in place so that individuals can get the hands-on experience right before they're actually hired into a full-time role. So usually there's some opportunity to, do some of those entry-level tasks. There's some opportunities to also work with a mentor-like individual that is doing the work already in that industry that can help support and develop those pre-apprentices.
That is awesome.
We talk about mentors a lot.
Okay, yeah.
The importance of having a mentor and making it a conscious effort not to just assume everyone's that it's gonna exist. That you really have to pay attention and develop a program. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing as well.
Even with mentorship, it's important. Allyship is important, and then at certain levels within organizations, sponsorship is important because, it's great to be mentored by someone, but you also want to have someone in those rooms when you're not present that can advocate on your behalf. And so, it's just the great work that we do around mentorships. If you talk to most people who have reached a level of success in their career, you ask them if there's someone that attributed to, that success, that imparted wisdom on them or helped, open a door for them. For the most part, someone's going to say yes, right? Yep. And so it's, just our due diligence as individuals to pay it forward. And so, as we continue to climb, making sure that we're reaching back.
Nailed it.
Really did.
And
you said you weren't good at this.
Oh,
she's a pro.
I don't know.
Obviously. So talk about why, from your perspective, it's important that there's more diversification, with these jobs, getting more women into this industry. Why is that important?
Equality, right? When we talk about diversity, look at, the neighborhoods, where we work and live. Our industries should reflect those neighborhoods. Think about this. When a government is releasing funds to an organization to do work in a certain neighborhood, and that organization is maybe benefiting multi-million-dollar contract, and the individuals in those communities are left behind, and that shouldn't be the case. So we have dropped the ball on that, just diversity and equality in a number of different ways. However, this is just a really good opportunity for us to say, how do we get it right?
Oh, okay.
And we're talking about equality, yes, but we're also talking about economic outcomes that are a result of the equality that needs to be in place. So as we build in these communities, we want to make sure that jobs are made available to the people that live in these communities, so that we can help shift the trajectory of some of their lives and the outcomes for the individuals that are in those communities. So this is not just something that is necessary. It's the right thing to do.
Sure. Is political office in your future?
Political office, I have not.
She's so good. I know.
I'm not sure about the political office. Political office gets too political.
Yeah,
right.
You could probably have more influence.
Yeah,
you definitely add a lot more value
it gets
outside
political,
of that.
But I will say, advocacy is just a part of who I am. Right. I realize that I'm sitting in this seat where I am today because there were others who went before me, and they the life that they lived was a life of struggle, so that I could be where I am today.
Sure.
And so I recognize that when I wake up in the morning, I stand on the shoulders of giants, right? I recognize, this morning I looked in the mirror and I asked myself, and I'm not just saying this because we're here having this discussion, but I asked myself today, I said, what are you going to do today that will help impact the lives of other people?
Yeah.
And so I'm glad this table was here, because really just
happens for a reason.
It's spreading awareness is one of those ways, and really just being a resource for other people. And so every day it's about that, not just taking up space here on earth. It's about taking what we have and being able to help make the lives of other people better. Right.
Yeah.
Leaving the spaces where we travel, and the rooms that we are in, better than we found them. Yeah. And so that's what it's about. What's really exciting? We're talking about diversity, and I just thought about this. So I am new to this position at NexAmp.
Okay.
Right. I'm 3 weeks in.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Okay. Yeah. I'm 3 weeks in. Right. They're a little baptism by fire, but I love it. It's been great. NexAmp is an extraordinary company doing some amazing things. However, I was supposed to tonight be at this award ceremony in Boston that would be recognizing me. The Boston Real Estate Times.
Really?
I was nominated and selected as the DEI Person of the Year.
Wow.
That is amazing. Congratulations.
So thank you. I had the great fortune to work with a company by the name of AGC, Associated General Contractors of Massachusetts.
We know them well.
Yeah. Oh, really? Shout out to John Ferrante, the great CEO over there, and all the staff at AGC. And so someone there will be receiving the award on my behalf. But
you're not going to take the jet back to get your award?
I know.
I know you're only 3 weeks in.
Had I known the two of you before and known I had access to your jet, then we could have worked some things out.
We could have worked it out.
Everything's about timing, right?
Is.
All about
that's
timing.
amazing.
Yeah.
So wrapping up here, I just had a question, just thought about it. What advice would you give to a young person or someone transitioning, like you were talking about, into a new space to maybe become aware, or what advice would you give to them if they're looking at having a career in this industry?
Yeah. So first of all, someone that's transitioning into a space, I would say, take advantage of LinkedIn. It's a free resource where you can connect with people. Everything is about relationships. Reach out to people who are in industries that you might be interested in. Reach out to people who are working in the solar energy space. Reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn, Marion Jones on LinkedIn. I'm happy to talk to you, happy to be a resource of support. But also, when you are applying for these positions and you're interviewing as an entry-level candidate, know that the rooms that you are in, you belong in those rooms. And so own that opportunity to be there, to represent yourself. And, you're not going to learn everything overnight. It's a process. We've all went through this process, no matter where we are, from mid-level career to the C-suite. And so, think about the people that you're coming in contact with who are in some of the roles that you might be interested in, and find a way to connect with them. Life is about connections, and we are meant to live life, together. Not in silos, not isolated, but together, so that we can all support each other to get to that next step of our journey.
Yeah. You know what, Sean? We are in the presence of greatness.
I feel it.
All the greatness in this room. Look around us.
Right?
Yes,
this
it is
has been
greatness.
an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
Man,
I've really
thank you
enjoyed
so
it.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I walked, when I was walking through here, I was like, wait, this is a maze. How do I get through here? And I kept being redirected to this side.
And there was just a beacon of light.
It was a beacon of light that said, you know what? In life, you are on air. I see it. There's the on air sign.
Right
I saw it. It was all. It was meant to be.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Mary.
Thanks for having me. This has been amazing. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we are back after lunch.
We are back.
Sean had White Castle for the first time.
I did, and it was amazing.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
It's one of those things, either you love it or you hate it.
I'm in the love category, I must say.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad I could introduce you something that you enjoy.
Yeah, and on the strip too.
And we have them in Phoenix, so we're good.
We do?
Yeah, there's one off the 101 in Scottsdale. There's a couple now, actually.
All right, I'm on the bandwagon now.
I love it. Okay, let's get our guest in here. Excited to have this conversation. I'm going to let you do a brief introduction, Kimberly, just your name, and I know your students, and maybe talk about, the school you go to and what you're majoring in.
Okay, wonderful. So my name is Kimberly Guthrie. I currently attend Northern Oklahoma College in Tonkawa, Oklahoma. And I am majoring in pre-engineering. So right now everything's kind of up in the air, but I do have some experience in civil engineering, and I'm thinking about going that route just because sustainability is kind of the reason why I went into it.
Sure. Yeah.
I highly recommend the wonderful world of civil engineering.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Do you have some experience in that?
Yes, I am a practicing civil engineer.
Oh, awesome. Wonderful.
And I manage a mid-size engineering firm in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, okay, good. Awesome. I'd like to pick your brain on that probably later.
Hired.
Actively hiring. No.
Yeah. There you go.
So talk a little bit about what's pre-engineering like? Is that just all the basic stuff until you figure it out?
Mm-hmm. So basically, Northern Oklahoma College has a pre-engineering program where you just do your calculus, your differential equations, and then your engineering physics 1 and 2 classes. However, on top of that, we do have a really awesome professor, Dr. Frankie Woodblack, where she kind of directs us on what classes we could take supplementary to that based off of where it is that we want to go. So for example, I'm taking thermodynamics, which isn't part of the degree, but it's useful if you want to go and get your engineering degree.
Yeah.
I love thermodynamics.
Of course you do.
It was one of my favorites.
How did you end up at that school?
So I originally went to Oklahoma State University. I'm from out of state, so it was really expensive. And I was working my way through college at a civil engineering firm, Ghost & Associates in Stillwater. And one of my colleagues told me that it is way cheaper to go to Northern Oklahoma College, and that the professors really cared about you, and that there were some opportunities there. So I decided to do it, and it's worked out really well for me.
That's cool. So what are you like being here at this event? Mm-hmm. What's your motivation behind that?
So the reason why I wanted to pursue civil engineering was for that sustainability side. I originally was studying electrical and then biosystems and agricultural engineering at Oklahoma State, but my AMP environmental science teacher told me to try civil engineering for that. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this. We have an agent professor here. I'm currently here representing Repowering Schools in Kidwin National. And through that program, I was able to do some research at NOC's campus. And so being in that renewable space was really interesting for me because now I'm here doing kind of what I want to do. And I get to know some people. So that's
nice.
So what are your thoughts on the show so far?
Oh my goodness, it is very overwhelming. You don't see that in Oklahoma, so
you're not in Oklahoma anymore.
Yeah. But it's really inspiring. It's neat to talk to industry folks to kind of get to know what's happening in the space. One of my goals here was just to know what the conversations were about, what people are looking for, and what people are doing, and how they got there.
So what have you learned so far? What are the conversations?
Oh man, right now it seems like there's a lot of buzz about battery storage. That seems to kind of be what everyone's talking about, which I haven't had much experience yet with, but I'm trying to walk around and take a look at it. Nanotechnologies, ways to store what you have once you make it.
Yeah. What are some of the questions you ask, like when you walk up to a booth and, something that is it of interest to you? Like, what are some of the questions you ask?
All right. So mainly what I do first is I kind of ask the person what it is that they are doing right now for a career, how they got into it. And then I also look for like civil engineering and if there is a place for that there as well. Because with pre-engineering, I can change wherever it is that I go to afterwards. And I kind of want to know what direction I need to go in. And then on top of that, I kind of pick their brain about what the company does, is what it's about, and what they kind of want us to know. So be kind of like that. What are you doing? Where are you from?
Yeah.
How'd you get there?
Did you walk through the career fair over here?
Yes, I was actually on my way back, and then I saw the koozies, so I stopped by for those.
Typical college student.
Of course.
Free koozies. That's cool. So I got to ask, one of the things we talk about on the show a lot is, diversity, because we both work in fields that are male dominated, and that is the field that you're going into as well. Talk about how, I don't know if you've really experienced any challenges so far, being a female in a male dominated profession.
Wait, you're saying that wrong. Do you remember the episode with Delilah? And it's not male dominated, it's male. What did she say?
Gosh, I can't
like
remember.
overrepresented or like something.
Something like that.
Male populated or something.
Overpopulated.
Anyway, I didn't mean to derail that. But.
Yeah. But I think it's really cool, just see a female going into engineering. There needs to be more women getting into these professions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you think of, like, from your perspective, do you think of that as a hurdle you have to overcome, or is it just something that you're just interested in, you want to do?
So I didn't really think of it as a hurdle until after I graduated high school. So I went to the Young Women's Leadership Academy in Fort Worth, and it's an engineering female girl school. And so I went into the field thinking, okay, things are going to be so different. I'm excited. And then I got to group projects at Oklahoma State, and then I got totally run over.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
But it wasn't all like that. It wasn't like that, not all the time, but it happened sometimes. But from there, you kind of build, I think, a network of women that are also interested in getting women into the field. Yeah. So that's been really neat. I mean, professors who have like friends and colleagues that are women in engineering, and there's a lot of empowerment there in that network. So that's really neat. It doesn't seem too hard when you have people behind you.
Yeah, for sure. So what are you excited about? Like your takeaways from being here, what's kind of going through your mind right now?
Oh man. So right now I'm excited just to get involved. I don't know how or where. The career fair was really interesting because I was able to talk to people about where I could take it. So that's kind of what I'm wanting to do, is find that path and then see where I can make an impact. So that's what I'm excited for.
So ideally, what would you do with this civil engineering with a focus in sustainability education that you're going to get? What would be an ideal position for you?
Ideally, site development. It's where I've had a lot of experience. That'd be really interesting, starting from like the scope of the project all the way down to like construction bid documents. That's cool. But really what I think I'm excited about, that I'm a little too afraid to do, but I kind of want to do, is research and development. It seems like there's a lot of innovative stuff there. So who knows if I'll switch, who knows if I won't. But it seems exciting to me.
Taken any survey courses yet?
I have taken a survey course.
And that didn't just catch you like that's the career you wanted to go in?
It was interesting. I liked playing with all the toys. That was fun.
Okay. All right.
There's still a chance.
It's still a chance.
Don't rule it out. You never know. What else?
I was just thinking when you were talking about the land development pieces, and I've never really heard somebody say construction documents are exciting and fun. So I'm really kind of want you to expand a little bit about, like, why do you think land development and that kind of thing is interesting? Like, what about it makes you want to make it a career?
I really like making something and then seeing it. that's fun for me. So I had a project that was in Stillwater with one of the previous firms that I worked for in Dallas, and being able to sit there across from it at Chipotle and watch it get built was really fun.
Cool. Yeah.
And then also just knowing how things work. You can drive around and see grading and where the water is and what people design and why they did it and think about that. And I mean, I can nerd out a little bit. But I like land development for that reason. Like I said, right now I'm getting to R&D. I'm doing some research projects right now through Oklahoma State, and that's been fun too. And that's been like in solar panel grid resiliency during wildfires and some other turbine stuff. So that's cool. There's a lot out there. Who knows?
Yeah. How did you get on this path?
On this path
to wanting to be an engineer? Yeah, like was one of your parents an engineer or something like that, or
no? So
well, somebody had to introduce. At some point, you said, "Hey, this is an option."
Yes.
When did that happen?
So it happened once I went to my middle school, high school, the Young Women's Leadership Academy. So I originally wanted to go into film, and that was really cool, but your paths are either film or engineering. And then they were full on those classes, so that engineering. And then I followed that path out doing their PLTW program. And then I just found myself kind of at the workshop doing things all day under light and playing with voltmeters and coding, and I fell in love with it. So I realized from that point forward, like there are people out there that are fixers, and it kind of became part of like I think an identity and something that kind of feels like I don't know, yeah.
All you engineers talk alike.
Well, I mean, just because we're a special breed. Yeah,
Special breed.
Yeah, we're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I like it.
I too like to look at the water flow on the curb and impress my wife on how much I know. And then she calls me a nerd, and then we move on.
Oh, so good. What else? Anything else you want to get out there?
No, nothing else. But thank you for your time, and thanks for the koozies.
Of course.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by.
Take some home to all your friends and neighbors if you want. Yeah, definitely. There's more where that came from. Thanks for your time.
Really enjoy the rest of the show.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Next up, we have. I should have confirmed this before we jumped on here. Ibrahim. How do you say
Ibrahim?
Ibrahim, yeah.
Ibrahim. Unique name. I can say he's probably the only Ibrahim here.
Thank you.
I love it. We took a wager before on how many Kents we would meet.
Okay.
And so far we've met 3, and that's way more than Kent thought.
I've never been at an event with more than 1 Kent, let alone 3. So, good to have a unique name, right?
Yeah. It's unique here.
Sure. Definitely unique here. So go ahead and introduce yourself, name, who you're with, and kind of what you do.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, my name is Ibrahim Alkhatib. I'm Marketing and Partnerships Manager for Samsung SDS. We do global logistics and also digital transformation. So in this case, we're here to promote our logistics platform, Cello Square, which is mainly for small to medium businesses that really want to leverage data and analytics in their supply chain. Traditionally, usually you just get an invoice or a bill and you get a tracking number. So with us, with Samsung, we really dive deep into the data, and we want to provide business owners and businesses with the analytics and the reports so they can make better decisions and more informed choices when they're deciding on supply chain routes, cost, inventory levels, things like that.
Sure. So when I think Samsung, I think like phones and things like that. I mean, never does it cross my mind that there's like a logistic arm to Samsung. So talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. You used the word arm correctly. So, so there's the big conglomerate, Samsung Group. And the first division of Samsung is Samsung Electronics that we're all familiar with. They're the biggest by revenue of the company's portfolio by far. And then Samsung SDS is number 2.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, top view, Samsung SDS is digital transformation. This is the best way to label it. But in any sector, so like healthcare, accounting, so many divisions within business we're involved doing digital transformation or IT consulting. But one of the probably the biggest sector within SDS is the logistics sector. This is where we have most of our manpower and a lot of our teams working. Samsung is a huge conglomerate. They even do like insurance in Korea, life insurance, automobile insurance.
Really?
They have amusement parks, not called Samsung, but they own it. and they run them, and they also do like hospitality, like hotels. So in Korea, that's the HQ.
Sure.
Their portfolio is very strong and robust. They do all these different things. Here, across the world, usually it's only electronics, Samsung Electronics that's known. But I'm trying to change that. Marketing manager, so I got to spread the word. What's SDS? Who are you guys really part of Samsung? Did you guys steal the logo?
Right.
When are you guys going to get sued?
Right. So talk a little bit about what's your ideal client here, and what you guys are doing here, and how can you help some of the companies that are at the show?
Yeah, great. So ideally, we focus primarily on Samsung Electronics cargo first. That's how we built SDS. Was like, okay, Samsung Electronics is doing X amount of global transportation, and so we're doing it already for ourselves. Let's spin it off into like a SDS, which will be like another company that they focus on these kinds of things. And so, like Samsung Electronics writes a check to Samsung SDS to handle their logistics. So we're handling all of Samsung Electronics logistics around the world, whether that's like ocean freight, air freight, and again, so for some things like that are not very important, ocean. Things like semiconductors, and there's like the shortage, air, and expedited air. And we do like cross-border trucking. So like in California, we have a lot of manufacturing power in Mexico on the border. So like washer machines, I think some of the TVs are made in Mexico, and then they're cross-border trucked into US. So all of this logistics is happening through SDS. So that's our first and primary like foundation as to like volume, how we can kind of compete. We have such a big volume from our Samsung Electronics arm. So then, okay, that's the foundation. We build upon that. Okay, what other technology or electronics companies can leverage our supply chain that see value in us carrying the loads for them? So like, there's competitors that will not work with us just because
the name
we're their competitor. So like LG is not going to work with us because we're their major competitor, right? We're both from Korea.
Yeah.
But sometimes we have competitors that just don't mind, or we're just competitors in different sectors, and they don't mind, and actually they prefer, because like, okay, we're competitors at the end of the day, like when the products hit the shelf, but your supply chain is the strongest because you're so well established, and also your supply chain is the most reliable, and it's also the safest because so our supply chain is optimized to handle electronics and semiconductors and these kinds of goods. So we're constantly monitoring for like humidity, temperature, shock, absorption, like the loads and stuff. So all of our stuff is optimized and focused around maintaining the quality of the goods throughout the supply chain. They cannot end up somewhere dead on arrival. They've been sitting in a hot container and somewhere, and the battery's all melted. So
yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so circuit boards fry. Whatever. Maybe they were exposed to water. All these things can happen, but we try to avoid them. Of course, everybody will try to avoid them, but some are better at that than others, and some have better contracts and better negotiating power as priority cargo, as like SDS does. So, back to your big question is like, QCell is our biggest customer outside of Samsung Electronics. They're number 2 for us in volume, and they're one of the top manufacturers of solar panel equipment. They're number 1 rated for like, again, degradation. So like in 5 years, how efficient is the panel? 10 years, 15, 20 years, how far has the panel lost in efficiency? So QCell's number 1. I think it was 15 or 20 years. They're still at like in the 90s.
Wow.
And they're a South Korean company too. They manufacture South Korea and also in Georgia, USA.
Okay.
So we move all their cargo, and so we have to, at some point we have to customize for the cargo. Certain cargo, if it's electronics, okay, can fit in a case and palletize. But sometimes some of the heavy duty solar equipment, it's not so easy to handle, and you have to customize stuff. So we customized for them because they gave us such big volume and basically their entire account. And so then we're like, okay, we're doing really well with QCell. They're happy with our performance. No, not much loss, not much damage. So we're doing it at a high rate. So let's try to leverage and get more solar contracts.
Interesting. How long have you been in this position?
I've been with Samsung SDS 1 year and a half, roughly.
Were you in logistics before that?
So kind of, but not like not as deep as I am now. So
Sure.
my undergrad is in supply chain.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But when I graduated, I went straight into like e-commerce companies and sourcing from China, and then we had to bring it over.
Yeah.
So there's some logistics there.
Interesting.
And then they were small like startups or like smaller businesses. They had like friends who owned a factory and they wanted to do the brand here and leverage this. So they're like, okay, e-commerce and marketing go together in their eyes, right? So so then I was like, okay. So that's just how it ended up happening. So then when this position popped up, it's like it's marketing, which okay, I've had some experience in, and then one of the big sectors for us is e-commerce, and it's supply chain. So I had all three, at least some variation of experience in all three. So they were like, okay, you seem like you're a good fit. So
yeah, that's cool. I guess where I was going with it is, I don't think it was ever sexy to talk about supply chains until the pandemic happened.
Right.
Yeah.
And then everybody's talking about supply chains, or they knew what the hell they were talking about or not. Are we past all those holdups from the pandemic? Is the supply chain, are there still shortages of materials and things like that? And,
or is it back to where it was pre-pandemic is, I guess, the big question.
yeah. And have all the ships been emptied that were offshore?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the lines in Long Beach, right?
Yeah, the line in Long Beach.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so there's two real answers to it. Is the market has bottomed out. So like let's say like peak COVID, a container from Ningbo, China to like Long Beach was like $20,000, let's just say. Now
Crazy.
it's like $2,000. So the market spiked up and it fell all the way back down. And not overnight, but just month after month after month. And that's it's a total like demand and supply. I mean, it's very, when everybody wants to ship something, the price just goes up because everybody's fighting. They're willing to pay $1 more, $1, $10 more, $100 more per container, whatever.
Yep.
So the price just stacks. And then when nobody wants to ship, same thing. It just falls to the bottom. And we're pretty much at the bottom right now. I think there's still shortages. Like for sure, there's shortages of semiconductor. That I know for sure.
Sure.
Most of the other things have flattened out. But I would say, what I've seen is like last year, this year, and even this is my personal like experience, but also Samsung gives us like market information. Inflation or just all these things. The demand for goods is very low. Even like Walmart, let's say like a retailer like Walmart, they're cutting POs. Like they used to order 100 containers from this factory. Now they're doing 10. And so a lot of factories in China went out of business or they've downsized significantly because they're reliant on these orders and it was consistent. But then the pandemic shot up the orders. So let's say they were usually they're getting 100. In the pandemic area, they got 150 or 200. So they were like super happy. But then there was too much goods on the boats, and then they were missing when they were going to arrive. Like we talked about the Long Beach lineup. So like they ordered stuff for Halloween and it got offloaded on Halloween day.
Wow.
So all that stuff needs to be now liquidated.
Yeah.
And now they're saying, okay, for next Halloween, we're only gonna order like 25% of what we usually order, and we're gonna be very picky about XYZ. And that's actually Walmart's the example I gave, but all retailers are doing that. They're being much more picky on how much they're ordering, how much they're holding, how long they're holding it for, and then liquidate it as fast as possible. So this is creating like
interesting
an aggressive market, and really it's hurting. Right now is the worst time for logistics, to be honest, but it presents an opportunity for a reset. It's like a reset,
Sure.
It was stable and then it spiked during when the demand spiked, and then now it had to reset because it was just crazy.
Well, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of that, all the supply chain issues, it kind of exposed some underlying problems that you didn't really think about until you pluck one cog out of that system and the whole thing breaks
Falls
down.
apart.
And I'm guessing, and I'm guessing it's something that you guys are doing of how do we prevent that going in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Those weaknesses in the supply chain only showed because we went through something that we've never gone through before in our lifetime. So nobody could really have predicted or like prevented. Now everybody is kind of like heading that way. They're trying their best to solidify supply chains, or actually the better word is diversify. diversify. So like, okay, I used to go with one company or one shipping lane or one transportation company. So, and all my orders are there. 100% of my volume is there. But now let me diversify. Okay, 25% to them, 25% to them, 50% to this person, this company. There's a lot of diversification going on. I don't know if we're covering up, like if the pandemic were, let's say, or something similar were to happen again, do I believe that we are like now all like prepared for something like that? No, I don't. I don't think there's I don't think there's been enough time or like changes implemented. Maybe thought wise, we're coming up with ideas, but to implement them and make sure they work and it's doable.
Well, yeah, what you just said about diversification sounds good in theory, but who's actually doing it? And when it comes to if you actually cost a little more to spread it around, our company's going to actually do that or not?
Yeah,
you may be aware of it, but
and even let's say they do it. If the event is big enough, no matter how much you diversify, it won't even matter anyways because the port will be slammed, whether you went with that carrier or that carrier.
If it was a hurricane that blew out the port, doesn't matter who's bringing it to it, it's still a problem.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. What about like on the human capital side? Is there a shortage of people in this line of work that you're in?
I don't think there's a shortage. I think it's just getting more expensive. Like for example, the Teamsters union with like UPS recently. The drivers, drivers are making more than like average college grads. Nothing wrong with that, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so UPS has to pass that cost in some way, some shape or form. So I think that's what it's used to be like. This used to be a very cheap labor sector. Okay, to run a warehouse and to have your operations team, it would be like you'd pay the guys like 10, 11, your 12, 13, your manager would make like 18, 19, 20. Now the base guys are making 20. And so that cost has to go somewhere. And it comes with inflation, like everything's going up. But I think specifically the labor cost has catapulted like the logistics cost to kind of like increase faster.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, and you got to pay those entry folks $20 an hour because they can go and make that at freaking McDonald's these days.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah,
I have to admit, you are the first person I've met that went to school for supply chain.
Really?
Yeah. Just tell me
where'd you go to school for that?
Yeah,
I went to Cal Poly Pomona in Southern California.
Cool,
interesting.
Yeah, my parents met there, so I figured I'd go there.
And how'd you get into this field, or what made you choose
supply chain?
Yeah.
So my father had a warehouse, and that was my first job, was helping him in the warehouse, managing inventory, receiving pallets, truckloads, inventory, operations, preparing, staging stuff for outbound, whatever. So I grew up in like the warehouse kind of.
Okay.
So I just felt, okay, like I have some context. There was only like 2 or 3 other options, like finance, supply chain, and then I don't know.
Land surveying.
Yeah.
Some tells me that's not one of the options.
Olympic swimming.
Yeah.
And so like
maybe professional cannonballs.
There you go.
So finance was like the hardest. I took you have to take a couple finance classes, and I was just like, man, this is totally, I can do it, but it's just like I don't have a passion for it, and not like I have a passion for running around warehouses and touching pallet jacks and loading up pallets, but it just was like more my calling, and I had the context, so I just felt okay. It can be applied in so many things. So and my pops was like, you may not do what you actually graduate in, but get something that will kind of give you like a good base, good foundation. Yeah. So that's what I went with.
Yeah. Well, that worked out well.
Yeah.
So what keeps you up at night when you think about supply chains and specifically the ones that you deal in? What do you lose sleep over?
Honestly, I don't lose sleep over anything.
Like a baby. Great answer. Do not let this bother me.
Great answer.
I mean, yeah, like there's so many people above my pay grade and below my pay grade that they worry about it.
You're in the sweet spot.
I'm in the sweet spot. Like I just get to spend money. I get to decide where we're going to advertise, what shows we're going to go to, who to network with, partner with this company, partner with this company. We were at the Alibaba show last week in Vegas here. They had their first show, big show. And, I blew a bunch of money on that show, and everybody's like, good job, good job, good job. Because part of the package I got was like my boss and his boss can talk to, the VP of Alibaba and the president of Alibaba and North America logistics Alibaba president.
Yeah.
They can be friends and talk and have wine. And they had a good meeting, so makes me look good. So, and plus other KPIs. So yeah.
Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. Anything else? Anything else you want to talk about?
Let me look at my card. No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I think
it's really interesting.
Visit the website. I mean, the website is huge. Like,
it is huge. Yeah,
it's like even I will like get lost in it sometimes, and it's just crazy how big Samsung is, and how like again little known that they do all these other things, and so
no question.
A lot of interesting stuff. Like, I'll just mention this. So like, we have a brand new platform, like I said, Cello and Cello Square. So Cello is for like enterprise level customers. They need tailored custom solutions, right? And then we made Cello Square for like small, medium, cookie cutter, but lots of data and lots of tools and dashboards. And so I'll just name some of the cool stuff so that way people know.
Yep.
So we've got like real-time quotes, we've got AI tracking, we've got AI congestion ports, so you can see like live monitoring of the ports, like how many days is it going to take to unload at Long Beach, and then the average for America, and then this is the whole world. We have like AI optimization for like pallets. So you put in your cases and how much they weigh and the size, and the AI will spit out how to best compile your pallet. And same thing for the container. Okay, how big is your pallet? How wide? How much does it weigh? Okay, this is how you should set up the container. We have blockchain enabled in our platform. So like those customers that really want security as part of their supply chain, usually with like very precious goods like wine, can be easily counterfeited. We've had customers with like vaccines, moving vaccines, also like luxury goods. They want to make sure like, hey, my stuff doesn't get stolen and my stuff doesn't get counterfeited somewhere along the journey. So like, okay, here's origin, here's destination. So somewhere in the middle, it makes a mysterious stop at the island, and then it gets switched out, right? So those kinds of customers, they want that stuff. So just some little tools here and there that set us apart. And then just that Samsung is cutting edge for sure. And then we keep adding. That's our thing. Like we keep adding to the platform. And then the best part is at least Cello Square, which is the platform I'm talking about, which is for small to medium. Cello Square is 100% free.
Really?
Fully free. Like there's no like premium version. You got to unlock if you pay $100 a month or whatever it is. 100% free. No hidden features that are the premiums or whatever. It's just 100% free. We only make money if you book one of the services.
Oh, gotcha.
Wow, interesting.
So, provide value up front. Let small businesses get some data on their logistics and supply chain, and then go from there. They'll trust us. Be like, okay, Samsung's providing this free. We're not the cheapest. We're not the most expensive. But again, you're getting the data, and you're getting all these dashboards and tools and stuff. So people who value data to make better decisions will see value.
For sure.
People who just want the cheapest price, because there's always someone who will do it for $1 less.
Right.
They'll find that person.
Yeah. Well, and you get the backing of the Samsung name, which is obviously highly respected. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your time, Ibrahim. It was great to meet you, and
awesome.
Love the conversation.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you, gentlemen. Great to meet you. Thank you.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. We are back.
Day 3.
We made it to day 3.
I walked in here this morning. I'm like, I have no idea how I made it here at this point. Last night it was a doozy.
It was a lot of fun.
We had a good time.
Thanks to Trent Keenan.
Huge shout out to Trent.
Yeah. Hosted a nice dinner for us.
Always so awesome. Hospitable, that guy.
Over hospitable.
Generosity through the roof.
Yes, without a doubt.
Yep. All right. We have our good friend Pete with us this morning. We're going to let him do a quick self-introduction. So if you would, Pete, just name who you're with and what you do.
I'm with Bone and Dawson. We're out of St. Louis, Missouri. We're a 75-year-old tubing fabricator. We focus on high volume repeating MRP type tube fab.
Okay. So MRP, talk about that. What is that?
Meaning we get a blanket order from our customer for, say, 200,000 parts.
Oh, wow.
And then we ship them X amount per month per their MRP system that tells us weekly, here's what we need, here's what we don't need.
Yeah. And kind of like, what do you guys specialize in?
Specializing in tubing and weldments and high volume. That is the specialty, because there's a lot of people that do tube, but they don't do it in the volume that we handle it in. It takes a lot of infrastructure in the company to make that happen.
So we're reading our customers' MRP systems, their downloads, and we're responding by changing what we're going to make in 60 days or 90 days to support their needs.
And who are your typical customers?
Our typical customers are like people in the agricultural industry. We make a lot of handrails for things like tractors, combines, and other equipment.
Okay.
Another big customer is outdoor power equipment. For example, we make like 6.5 million lawnmower handles a year. If you ever wondered where your lawnmower handle came from.
Really?
And I'm sure nobody ever wonders where that comes from.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And we've been doing that since the 40s. I mean, that was our first market.
Lawnmower handles?
Lawnmower handles and lawnmower handles for lawnmowers were typically built in the center of the United States, like in Illinois and Illinois to Mississippi. That's where all the first ones came from.
Did you say 6.2 million?
6.5. Yeah, I mean, anything that takes a handle, we make it. We make like 0 turn radius handles for ride-on mowers that are used by commercial guys, and then consumer lawnmower handles. I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
So
we're very good at it. I mean, we have a lot of automation in our plant.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. And you drop a piece of tube in one end, and a lawnmower handle comes out the other end.
That is cool.
Yeah, untouched by human hands, hopefully.
Interesting. I want to get back to that, but so do you guys do the engineering in house too, like the design, mechanical engineers?
We do
on
all
staff,
the design to make the tools to make the parts, but our customers pretty much tell us, "Here's the handle that we want."
Yep.
Okay.
And it may be there's some discussions about how do we make that and how can we make that for less money.
So do they just send you a CAD file and you put it in the machine and it spits out what they want?
Not that simple, but they'll send us the CAD file, and then we'll design the tools and then put it in the machine to say make 500 or 5,000 or 50,000, whatever.
Interesting.
And how long have you been in the tubing business?
I've been in the tubing business 30 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, this month actually.
Well, good. That's good, because my next question is, what advancements have you seen in the industry that has really changed things?
Good question. Yeah, the metallurgy in the steel itself, the tube manufacturers and the steel people have really gotten a lot more automated, and that's helped us. But the machinery has just gotten better and better every year. I mean, for example, 30 years ago, we would quote a tolerance on bending of like plus or minus 1 degree. Well, that may not sound like much, but at 50 inches away, that's a lot.
Yep.
But nowadays it's like a quarter a degree, and the lasers and robots. Yeah, we probably have 20 robots in our plant that are those are just material handling robots. We have 16 arc welding robots. So
wow,
yeah.
So I got to ask, I'm a geotech guy. I see these massive screws over here. We'll talk a little bit about what those are, what you're doing with them.
We're really excited about that market, and we're really new into it because on or around January of this year, we kind of found out that there's a market for that, and that there aren't any domestic manufacturers of ground screws. And a ground screw, for those of you who don't know, it's a mechanically fabricated screw that's made out of tubing. It's swedged. The flights are welded on it, and they're anywhere from 2 meters to 10 feet long, depending upon on the application. You screw them into the ground, and they really become like a piling, or they actually replace a concrete
caisson
footer. Or caisson. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned yesterday how you built a deck, I think. And
I did.
You use
I built a small fence to they call it a trash can hide.
Yeah.
And my son and I put 3 ground screws in the ground in 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh!
You can't dig 3 2.5, 3 foot holes to sink concrete posts. Concrete.
How do you drive them in the ground?
You manually start them, and they usually sell you a piece of rebar with it, and until it gets pretty close to done, you're okay. But when you get closer to the finished depth, you got to put a larger bar on it.
Okay.
And fortunately, I'm a tubing fabricator,
so you have that
stuff laying around. Yeah, it's laying around in my bedroom. Yeah, I'm joking. But so we had some stuff, so we cranked it down with that. But in a commercial application, you would use something like a one piece, they call it, that would mount to like a skid steer or even a pile driver frame, and basically just drill them in with a hydraulic drill. And in some of them, with what I've seen, you can insert 1.5 meter screw in like 30 seconds.
So is that the big benefit is the time saving
and overall cost versus some of the other things? A driven pile, for example, a big H pile, depending upon the length, you're talking $250 worth of steel as it comes off the truck.
Right.
And if you're using a ground screws at 1.5 meters are like $25 to $35, depending upon the metallurgy.
Mhm.
You get a couple of those, and then you got an A-frame that goes on top of it, and that's a lot less money than you're still less money than a pile.
Sure.
Yeah.
It sounds like there would be a geotech component to.
Oh yeah. Anytime you're screwing anything in the
Putting
ground,
this-
it's
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, it's not going to work in every soil type.
No.
So
No,
yeah.
and I'm not and that's why I'm talking to you guys, because I'm not really a geologist at all and don't understand soil compaction and stuff like that. But what we've heard is it doesn't work very well in sand.
right.
Sure.
You got to dig
Yeah.
down 20 feet, so you might as well use a pile.
Yeah.
But in clay and rocky soil and stuff like that, it works pretty good.
And then, think about when you go to the beach and you got to you screw your umbrella into the sand. Like that first 6 inches, it doesn't do anything. You really got to get in there.
Yeah.
And even then, it's still not the best. But yeah, clay applications, when it's maybe some expansive soils, you can really, and because you're limiting the spread of the footing, but you still get all the benefit from because you don't need a whole lot of bearing capacity there for like a panel.
Sure.
Yeah.
What the markets that you service the most? You mentioned lawnmowers, that type thing. I mean, I would think the automotive industry
we do.
and
We
stuff like
service
that.
automotive because we're good at high volume, and that's always been a market that we're cautious with. We want to keep that to about 10% of our overall business portfolio.
Why is that?
Well, but when automotive goes south, it goes bad. I mean,
you just got to be diversified.
You just shut the whole plant down.
Oh wow!
And we don't want to be 90% automotive.
Right.
But there are people that do that and they survive. But that's tough when the market changes.
Lawnmower handle market stays pretty consistent.
It's been pretty consistent.
Grass always grows.
Grass is always growing. 1% growth every year. I mean, awesome. In the outdoor power equipment market, all the guys in that market, they know it. It's 1% growth every year, right? Which is amazing. But anyway, automotive, and then we do a lot with the off-road vehicle industry, with the
ATVs,
ORVs.
Sure. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's been a huge market for us, and we're really
like sand rails and stuff, right?
Not so much sand reels, but like the side by sides and stuff that you see. Yeah. That market is really blown up, and we're really good in that market. Most of the parts that we make, you don't even see. They're down in the frames.
Sure.
Wow.
We have a couple systems that literally produce. That's all they do, and they do it 24/7. They run 2 shifts a day or 3 shifts a day, depending upon volume increases, and they're completely unattended. And they run and they do the frame parts basically for a big side by side.
Got it.
Wow.
What about like from a material perspective? I mean, is it hard to get the steel that you guys use? We're crazy. What's that market like?
Yeah, it's much better now. Going through COVID, there were real shortages. And it was everything. It was the ore. It was, coke. It was getting stuff to make steel. And then, the market was just kind of in flux. But right now, it's not hard to get. We're very close to our suppliers. We know them really well. We're generally speaking one of their better customers because it's weekly shipments, to us.
Sure, yeah.
Sometimes daily. But yeah, no, material's good. The mills are up and running, pretty much full capacity. They tend to manage their capacity to manage pricing, but right now it's favorable.
Yeah, that's good.
So what are you excited about? What's you talk about the new technology, what are you excited about coming up in the next few years?
We're real excited about solar, and that's great news. And I moved within our company. I moved over to manage the solar division.
How long has that been a focus for you?
Since January.
Oh, really?
Wow. Really, since about August 1 when we found out we were going to be in this show. And that's all we've been focusing on. But I had to transfer out of the old job and train my replacement. But our business has been growing steadily, and we're very fortunate. Good, hardworking people. I mean, this is
how many people in the company?
About 200 people.
Okay.
In our building, in our between our facilities in St. Louis. Yeah. And then we have remote facilities. We have a facility in the Carolinas, third-party logistics, and then El Paso, Texas, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So talk a little bit about, what do you see? I mean, the idea is great. The applications there do you see do you see that solar space growing a lot? And
we do. We really think that, and we're hitting it at the right time. A lot of people that we've talked to are saying solar is, solar can be the solar coaster, they call it. But it's now at the top of the hill. or the coaster, and it's in a good position. So looking for a lot of growth over the next couple years at least, and probably the next 10 to 15 is what we're hearing. Depends on who you believe on that. We're very excited about it.
Well, if you talk to anybody around here in this conference, you're at the top of the hill, and it's going to keep going up. I see no decline in everyone we talk to. But however, those are business development people in the solar space. So,
and like I say, it depends on who you believe. But most people are very enthusiastic about it, and we are. And the other thing that I got to point out is, just working with people in this marketplace, they're very open. They care about what they're doing, which is really interesting because, they are doing something good for the environment, vicarious by working in the marketplace, which is really neat. And you don't see that in other industries. If you're selling lawnmower handles, they're all about mowing lawns, and that's not exactly helping the environment. Yeah. So people are pumped up about it, and it's contagious.
One thing I've noticed too is everybody we talk to is all about teaming with people and getting partners and collaborating. It's like you said, very open. Like, hey, this is what we need. Everyone's very. It's not a good old boys network.
Definitely.
Good point. And if this were per se an automotive show, you would notice the difference instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're an automotive guy and it's a component show, if you're not buying something, they don't want to talk to you. If you're not buying something directly from them, and in the solar industry, everybody will talk to you, right? Because everybody, and what people say is, you be careful who you talk to, or you remember that guy might be a competitor today, but tomorrow he's a partner.
Right.
And that's really true if you've seen some of the consolidation and acquisitions in the industry.
Sure.
Yeah. So
what's the labor pool like? Is it hard for you guys to find?
During COVID, we really we learned a lot during that. I think a lot of people did. Our wages came up significantly, about 30%.
Wow,
which is big. It's hourly labor. We are a union shop, and which is a good for everybody. But availability is very good right now. And right now we're kind of in a holding pattern in terms of hiring, but we'll probably start hiring as we get closer to the end of the year. So, again,
So is it seasonal?
It does tend to be somewhat seasonal, which is one of the reasons we think solar might offset some of that. But we try and level load our business as much as possible based on what our customers are telling us. And sometimes we're taking some risk in building some parts that maybe we don't really have firm orders for yet, but it's better than doing nothing or sending people home. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, before we let you get out here, talk about BDI a little bit, about the company culture and, why you love being a part of it.
Well, one of the reasons I love being a part of it is it's a family-held company. The CEO is a year younger than I am. We started there around the same time, and he took it over from his father and his family. And it's a family-run company, and we run the company as if the people that work there are in the family. I always like to say the engineering guys, and we're very engineering heavy. The engineering guys at the end of the day look like they've been changing the oil in a dump truck. I mean, these are guys that are not sitting there with their pens and their CAD styluses. They are, if they're out on the floor, fixing a problem, they're up to their elbows in grease and dirt, and they are it's a hands-on thing.
Gotcha.
And we always say that we always hire that kind of kid. That's the kind of guys that we like to have. And it's fun. It's fun to work there because everybody's a good team spirit. And like I say, when you look around, you see like a VP of engineering with, his shirt's filthy because he's been out working on a bender all day. It's like, kind of brings it into focus.
Sure. That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And you're in the America's heartland where the work ethic is ingrained in people, right? Right out of the womb.
We think so. But I believe in just America in general has a great work ethic. And we hope that continues.
Yeah. Nice. Good stuff. Anything else you want to get out there?
No, really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, it's been great.
Guys.
Yeah. Great chatting with you.
Yeah, thanks
you.
for stopping by.
You bet. Take care now.